ultimately, to win the Premier League, yes, we need to get a win over them to just slow them down ourselves. Like I said, we can't be relying on all these other teams to do it. And on to that match. I mean, we know how big it is to play Manchester City. We know it's obviously been somewhat of a what's the word? A cursed fixture for us over the last few years. I'm not cursed because something's happened controversial or anything. It's been quite rudimentary. It's been academic. Man City have just always turned up and we haven't, and they've obviously are coming into this now with a loss in the Premier League against Wolves. They lost 2-1 to Wolves. Arsenal won. They've closed the gaps, quote unquote. Obviously, it's still very early in the season, but Arsenal undefeated. They're not. Arsenal have acquired an £100 million player, albeit he's not, firing on all cylinders right now just because of injury. His performances are still excellent, but his injury could hamper him. Man City have no Rodri at the base of their midfield, which was an excellent result for us weeks back when he got a red card. Do Arsenal have to win here? Like, if Arsenal have any hope of winning the Premier League, does Arsenal have to beat Manchester City at home at the Emirates this weekend?
I don't know how I can say this to make it more emphatic, but it has to be a win. It has to be, because these moments is where the title was lost last season. We didn't pick up any points against the eventual winners of the Premier League, and had we'd probably be saying we're champions. We have to start taking points off them, especially at home. I mean, the game it's of huge importance. The away game, you always go to most away games anyway, just saying don't lose. If you come away with a draw, it's not the worst. Obviously, you go to some places expecting to win, but this game, we're at home. We're trying to be saying we are title contenders, or we should be up there. Then we have to be taking points off them. A draw would be okay, I suppose, but really, I want that win more than anything. It's time. We've had some very good performances against them. Unfortunately, again, we're in a position where we've got some players out. We always seem to be coming up against City and it's Partey's out or Jesus isn't available. Now it looks like Martinelli might not be available, but we still have quality players. And like you had mentioned, they're missing, I think Bernardo Silva's injured, De Bruyne is still injured, and most importantly, Rodri has got a suspension. I think John Stones is injured as well. So they're kind of mix and matching with the centre-backs as well. So, but that one with Rodri is key, absolutely key. So it just has to be 3 points, in my opinion, which is why this Lens game is such a tricky one to negotiate in terms of making sure that we come out with points, obviously, but also come away with no injuries so we can go into that City game raring to go, ready to give it all. Because if we can get 3 points there, it's not only the fact that we go above them, and obviously depending on the Tottenham-Liverpool game, that will depend whether if maybe Liverpool might end up on top, that might change things. But still, if we can go above them, it tells them that we're no longer a little bro. We're here now, we've arrived, and we're going for that title. And if we can do that, I can't even imagine what sort of confidence it will give to the team going into the rest of the games, because outside of City, who can't we beat? Who can't we beat? Who can't we give a challenge home and away? So yeah, it's absolutely huge, massive game.
Yeah, we proved last season at home we could beat Liverpool. Obviously, dropped points to them in the reverse fixture. Obviously, beat Tottenham twice last year, beat United last year. We've beaten them this year as well. Beat Chelsea twice last year. This is the one out of the big teams that it's just like we just can't get over the hill. When I can't be watching football on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon expecting Bournemouth, Luton, Everton, all of these teams to take points from Man City. I can't be expecting that. We were just bantering in the group, and Wolves got the win, and it was like raw, like out of nowhere. Wolves have been pants this season and all. we cannot be asking anyone to do this job for us. We have to do it ourselves. And I remember us speaking in pre-season about, you know, overcoming City, and I was saying, you know, it would somewhat kind of feel a bit cheap if we win the league without beating the champion, without beating Manchester City, even if they're going to a season not champions, whatever. Like, ultimately, it doesn't matter if you know, if you can beat everybody else, like literally beat everyone else and lose twice to City, you will win the league. Like, but it's just psychological for this team. Like, this has been going on for far too long now. It's City, and it's pretty much like this is this is where our philosophy. Like you said, we are the little bros. We are the B team to this team.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just in terms of the way we play, how we want to play, everything we're aspiring to, they are doing. Like, we have to overcome them. Like, we just have, just for the sake of, forget the Premier League, just for the sake of, you know, we can get one over from you. And whether you want to count this or not, I know it was a penalty victory. We beat them in the Carling, what was it, Charity Shield?
Yeah.
We beat them in that Community Shield thing at the beginning of the season. Like, yes, it was on penalties and it's pretty much a nothing match, but, you know, they had the first team out. We had a first team out. Like, we kept up with them, at least for what counts. It was 0-0 after 90 minutes or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, we can put in a very solid performance against them. It only takes one mistake and one thing to score, and they're missing some of their very best players integral in a match this size. Yeah. So ultimately, to win the Premier League, yes, we need to get a win over them to just slow them down ourselves. Like I said, we can't be relying on all these other teams to do it. I think we can quite clearly see we are the second best team in this league, even if you want to say there's a gulf between us and City. But we can't rely on anyone else. We have to get the job done yourself. And then, you know, come the end of the season, if we finish second, you can say, well, we tried, we did our bit against them lot, and we now know it's the other games we can't afford to slip up on. And when that City fixture comes around, we've got what it takes to take points from them.
I think you said it perfectly, bro. I mean, I think back to teams who have won the Prem recently, and there's not a lot really, because I think City have got like 5 out of 6. But when the season Liverpool won it, and even in the seasons where they challenged, I'm sure Liverpool took points off City, at least a home game or an away game. They got points off them, and it was just maybe faltering somewhere else that kind of did it for them. But taking points off your rivals for the league is huge. You know, if you're thinking every other game we've got a chance of 3 points, but it's just this game, then this game becomes monumental. And again, like I said, what it can do for the psyche to say that, right, like our direct rivals, we took points off them. Now it's time about just continue going and going again, knowing that we're not going to get a harder challenge, you know, on the face of it, than this team. And they are, like you said, like we've been saying, they're the big bro, and they are missing some key integral players. And hopefully, so are we, but hopefully we can take advantage of that and finally put them to the sword. I just think, like you said, even more so than the Prem, it's just time. I mean, was it 2 seasons ago when we lost like last minute to a Rodri winner, I think it was. And then they got that soft penalty off Xhaka. Like, since then, it's just, even last season at home, I felt like we played really well, but again, they just had the cutting edge. They soaked up the pressure, hit us on the counter, and away from home, well, let's leave that one for now. But this is just...
That one's another story.
Yeah, that was another story. We'll get there when it comes later in the season. We'll dissect that one. But right now, it's just about, we're in front of Emirates, in front of the Emirates crowd. I do have some reservations because our home form is just so higgy. It's so up in the air. You don't know what you're going to get. And to be honest, more time, you know you're going to get a bit of a shaky defensive performance, or, you know, we're just not switched on. I don't know if I'm the coach, if I'm Arteta, one of the coaches, I'm saying we need to have a look at the prep that we're doing leading up to home games. Is there something we can change, something we can do to switch the players on more? Because if it's not early goals, we're giving away leads like twice against not against Fulham, but We've taken the lead against Fulham, had the lead twice against Tottenham, last season as well. You know, it's just even giving kind of soft goals against Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I'm worried about us. I'd probably feel a bit more confident. Maybe confidence is the wrong word, but I'd feel more assured that we're going to have our heads switched on if we were playing at the Etihad.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, we're playing at home, and then as the home team, you're expected to lead the charge.
Yeah.
This could be down to the players wanting to impress the fans. This is obviously down to as well the fans being in their numbers at home and cheering on the players a bit more. And it's a bit more gung-ho, and I think that's where we've looked weak this season, when we've played at home and we're expected to, you know, stick it to the other team and do damage and go forward and play expansive football. And we've left, like, the way we play, like, is always going to leave us with holes. But at home, it's like too many players are getting forward, and we're trying too many things and then losing the ball and misplaced passes and all of that kind of stuff. So it's almost like we need to be a bit more pragmatic. I will not be angry at the team for a pragmatic approach against Man City. Like, these are great away performances we've been putting in. The Crystal Palace one, where we had 10 men. Everton, the other day against Bournemouth. Like, we just need to kind of put in these performances so that we're not just, our legs aren't open. That's the only way I can say it. Like, our legs aren't open for Man City to run through and cause problems. Like, if it's a 1-0 win, let's run it. Like, there's a period last season, maybe 2 seasons ago, when we'll build and we'll get to like the last 10 minutes of these matches, and you know, the holding substitution would happen. We go to 5 at the back. There is no shame. Obviously holding is gone, but there is Kivior, there is Tomiyasu that can slot in at centre back. There is no shame. Do what you have to do, because the psychological side of beating Man City in this league is going to be massive for these boys. Like, treat this match as a one-off, like a final of whatever. Just it's a final. It's not Premier League. Like, play it like it's just got one chance in it. And I think that will help. We couldn't have asked for them to lose a more integral player than Rodri. So, you know, yes, we're missing players, but I don't think, unless we get to Saturday next week and you know, Saka can't play or something like that, then we can put our head in our hands. But until then, right now, with the circumstance, playing at home and all that kind of thing, advantage Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally it. I don't think there'd be a better pre-match speech that you could give them, other than, you know, treat it like it's the one game. I know sometimes they say don't play the occasion, play the game, but I think that time's gone. I think because we've had so many near misses, you can't help, but I don't think the players are going to be able to think that, you know, we need to get one over on them. And of course, you'll try and tell them to play the game, play the tactics that we've been working on, so on and so forth. But there will be a lot of passion. There will be a lot of, like, we need to get this on. And if we do get the win, the celebration police will definitely be out, because I'm sure the boys will enjoy it afterwards. But like they should. Yeah, like they definitely should, because it means more to them. I'm sure there's even way more riding on it for them. They probably talk about it at breakfast, at lunch, you know, how they're doing. Probably now even on the team bus back, or however they're getting back, they probably said, oh, you see, City lost, rubbing their hands. You know what I mean? I'm sure, you know, the sports psychologists will be saying one game at a time, but they're only human. You know, I know what I'd be doing. I'd already be thinking, that City game, our eyes are already on it. So, yeah, I just think it's the biggest game of the season, and it's prior to an international break. And you don't want to go into an international break holding no L for 2 weeks. It's just, you just be ruminating on it, especially against City. I know it depends how the game goes. If you find that, you know, against City are too good and we nick a draw, maybe the feeling amongst fans is different. But if we can go into the international break with that win, the momentum that will be with us would be absolutely amazing. So hopefully we can do that. We have all the players that are currently available. And yeah, we absolutely put them to the sword. I'd love like you know how we did Man United those seasons ago? I think it was 15-16. I was 3-0 in like 20 minutes.